So glad you can make it. So today we're going to kind of fill in a little bit where we had to quickly cover on Thursday. So we're going to talk a little bit more about intentional trader products and services. Image too big? Well, all right. Well, as long as you can see it, I'll let you work out how you want to view it. And we're going to do a quick review of Thursday's webinar because I know there's a lot of people that couldn't make it on Thursday. We're just going to quickly cover some of that and then take a look at Bloodhound templates. So it's just going to be kind of a casual Saturday. And, thanks, Tony. Okay, everybody's getting settled. So just to kind of give you an overview of what we do, how we approach trading is we're kind of the one-stop shop. We want to provide the tools that are necessary. Over time, you know, when we started, it was trade room and indicators, but we've developed other services to help people too. You know, we figure, hey, they're NinjaTrader users, I'm sure they're practicing and so on, but we really found that people were not taking full advantage of some of what they had. So we developed all kinds of things. You know, just in general, we want to provide trade room so that you have a place to go. It's a place where you can be accountable and trade with like-minded people. There's also, well, we'll get to each of those. So let's, for practice, we developed something called the Fast Forward program. And this is basically a program where you learn how to practice effectively so that you can improve on something every day while also mastering our setups. So this has become a very popular program. Oops. And then we also, just to make things convenient, we developed a market replay downloader tool. So with NinjaTrader, you can download market data one day at a time for one instrument. And we said, no. You know, we want to be able to download a month of data or however many days for several instruments. And so with one click of a button, you can do that with our tool. So that makes everything just so much more convenient. And we do stress pretty much practice. You know, that's the main thing. And you'll notice improvement right off the bat. You know, just even with a few days of practice, you'll notice how things are starting to shape up. So, and then you do have to continue to practice, of course, but you definitely get a lot of bang for your buck when you practice. And so with TradeRoom, we have monthly options and unlimited access per person. That's not unlimited for the whole clan, but just for one person, you know, over time. We call it lifetime as well. And so that's just a great deal. You know, it's just a few months. Unlimited access is just a few months of, you know, of monthly access, and then boom, you're there. And for some of the personal things that we all have to work on with trading, it's different for all of us. We have the AHA sessions where we meet once a week and just go over all those types of things. There's about 30 different sessions in each cycle. Cover those types of, you know, basically we want to replace sort of some of our bad habits with good habits. So once you start doing that, as you learn in the AHA sessions and just bring it into practice, then, you know, the bad habits just kind of melt away. So it's kind of this positive reinforcement, and it's really good. It's a place where we can all kind of share experiences and so on. We also have RX mentoring program. That's a one-on-one, very intensive mentoring program that most people don't need, but it's just there as an option. And then, of course, we have our indicators, which are at the heart of everything. And all of our setups are based on the patterns in our indicators. So we have that. We have Bloodhound templates, which we'll go over today. And some of these things, Everything except for the mentoring and the Bloodhound templates are included in our VIP program. So all the other stuff, lifetime room, indicators, any updates to indicators that we use in the room are free for VIPs, AHA sessions, and all the goodies. So it's really a good value. And let's see. So that's basically, in a nutshell. And when you go to our website, just go ahead and poke around over there, theintentionaltrader.com, when you have a chance, and you'll see some of these things. The indicators, unfortunately, at this time, VIP is a little buried. You've got to go to indicators, NinjaTrader packages, VIP, and you can see everything that's included there. I would direct your attention to the AHA sessions right here. These are clickable. You can get a whole idea of the types of things that we cover in the AHA sessions. So, just when you get a chance, poke around, and you'll see all the other services as well, training and so on. Take a look at some of our reviews. Great. Okay, just to give you an idea of our services, I just wanted to kind of cover that, who we are, what we do. All right, so on Thursday, we talked about some of our typical chart patterns and how we want to capture these areas. And really, the action all kind of starts here. This is an area that we want to characterize. So with our tools, we've developed indicators that will look, what's going on here. This increased order flow, higher volume. And then we have other indicators that will show us exhaustion straight up. All of these, when you have higher flow, that means you're going to have exhaustion soon too. And this is just an area that is sometimes, it's kind of a driver for what sets a lot of this in motion. And I don't think a lot of people kind of appreciate that. They look for breakouts here, and they find that, well, a breakout here is going to look an awful lot. And when do you know that that's going to form? You just have sort of the sideways action going into it. So timing is very difficult. It could easily just turn against you. Likewise, now this is a 1-minute chart, but if you're on a higher time frame chart and you want to look for a trend, often people will get in quite late down here. And we want to get in close to where the decisive action is happening. So for us, it's all about exhaustion. And we would look for an entry on this bar here. So it's these kind of patterns repeat in all kinds of different time frames over and over and over again. But for us, the 1-minute time frame suits us really well because the new players, relatively new players of high frequency traders and so on, are really amplifying this kind of behavior. And so as people, the average person, you've got your big boys, the market movers selling off contracts here and so on. And us retail traders think, hey, market's going to go higher, it's going to go higher, it's going. They're already selling off. Then the high frequency traders will come in and kind of do a last minute little surprise to shock us all. So we all kind of panic and we all want to kind of sell off. So we want to take advantage of this area here. So it's basically, it's nothing new. It's basically your volume spread analysis that Wyckoff developed way back in the 20s before high frequency traders, but you still have the same old patterns. These are probably day charts in his day. And now, the 3 major players in the markets are just more proprietary traders or the market movers that are moving tons of contracts around, high frequency traders, and us little guys creating noise and such around here. So a lot of this area here, everything down here, is on low volume. You've got the big boys slowly buying up contracts here. To us, it just looks like noise, just sideways action. And it might test things a little bit. Maybe the orders are going through a bit faster, but it's still low volume. And then here, a number of things are it's kind of getting set to probably, they're selling off around in here. So that's when they're dumping contracts. And that's what happens. I mean, they're moving the markets. So we, and then we drive it up a little bit, and then everybody just goes for one big sell-off. So that's kind of the areas that we want to capture. This area here is the most decisive. So we want to look for high volume, fast orders coming in. Because ultimately, it's just going to point to exhaustion, right? That we can count on. We're not going to have moves that go on forever. And so, and if we trade too far out from this turning point here, then we can't be sure if exhaustion's still in play. So we want to just get right in this action here. So how do we capture these areas, and what kind of information are we looking for? And as we talked about on Thursday, we got from the exchanges, we have price, we have order size of transaction, we have volume at the bid and ask over time, kind of the time and sales window stuff. And so that's basically what we have to work with, but that's actually plenty. We don't need 100 different price-based indicators and so on. Just going to make sure we're utilizing those three sources effectively. So one of our main hallmark indicators is the speed tick. And this is our order flow of actual orders coming in. So it really, for timing wise, it's fantastic. And it's going to pinpoint this point here. Basically, we're looking at, for example, this is a CL. So we look at 30 tick bars. That's 30 orders. Could be any number of contracts in those orders, but 30 tick bars coming in over a 30-second period. And from there, we can determine a threshold. So say we've looked it over, and for us, we need at least 20 30 tick bars coming in over that 30 period in order to generate this small white speed tick. And we also have, as you can see, there's a larger medium blue speed tick, and that's twice the order it's coming in. So that'd be at least 40 30 tick bars during that 30-second period. And these are tradable, either the small whites or the medium blues. We trade those. And then we have this big blue here, which is 3 times the rate. And that's, we pass when we see that for our setups, because it's usually some kind of external market thing, news, inventories for CL, something going on. So we kind of sit back and let those orders clear, because it's really more than what we want. So it's nice to have indicators that keep you out too, so you don't, every time you see something, you don't just jump in. It's kind of like a stoplight, stop sign. Just, nope, we're going to pass on that. So that's a pretty cool feature. And this is on a 5-minute chart. This is the same speed tick, how it might look. And then another thing, so we've got, okay, the rate of orders coming in, and now we want to start kind of filtering our setups and looking at overbought, oversold, which you probably, everybody, well, most people have that in their arsenal. What we've done is we've brought this up on the price chart so you can see these outlines right here for overbought and oversold, so we don't have to hunt around for the information. It's based on, we use RSI in the root, but we have other oscillators within the indicator that you can choose. So we want to make sure that overbought, oversold is there for most of our setups or something equivalent. And that's a good way to pick out extremes, which is, that's most likely where you're going to have exhaustion. Then now getting back more to the volume spread analysis and just how do we handle volume in our system, we have this pullback alert, which there's within the indicator, there's 5 different pullback alerts, but we use this number 2 and number 3. These are high volume ones. So we want to make sure that volume's coming in, and that combined with the speed tick is, extra goodness. And because, the speed tick is the rate, so you could even have a fast rate at low volume, but we want to make sure we've got some strong volume coming in. And that helps us to kind of weed out some of the noise, the quiet times. Basically, the difference between 2 and 3 is for pullback alert number 2, we have kind of within a bar, this is just one big bar, we have a smooth kind of increase in price. And there's no churn, no activity, no battling really. It's just quickly going up. And pullback alert number 3, we have, there's some still indecisiveness. It's going up, and then maybe there's some battle. People are selling off, going up, selling off, and so on. So those are 2 different ones. We trade them the same, though, in our room. Generally get more 2s than 3s. So that's, getting closer to really pinpointing those extremes. And another thing we might want to know is how fast is price moving inside the bar? How fast and how far? And so we have developed this velocity indicator. It's we use it as a helper indicator in the room. Generally, we do want to see velocity printing. There's 3 different thresholds. We trade them all the same. But it's not a requirement. And if you look at the dome, you can also kind of see price bouncing around. But it's just kind of a helper indicator. It's pretty cool though in itself that you can definitely incorporate it into your setups and possibly put a new twist on setups as well with something like this. It's pretty powerful. Increasing velocity. There's a number of ways you can trade that. But for us, we want to look for high velocity. Again, pointing to exhaustion. So that's where we get our turning points for that. And then again, another helper indicator is meter for momentum. And this is at the foundation of our setups. But I mean, it's so you can read this easily on the chart. But we designed an indicator that has it's 4 different thresholds of momentum. So again, you can look that over. You can say, hey, I need at least threshold 2 or threshold 3 or whatever to help you out. So basically, it's looking at the increasing bar size increasing by a certain percent over a minimum, of an anchor bar. So we just generally these bars are getting bigger, and clearly you can see that on the chart. But it helps too. Helps people with timing and so on. So just to kind of move it along, now these are no less important indicators by any means. We have divergence, RSI divergence flash, and MACD divergence that we trade in the room in their own setups along with the speed tick and other goodies, and the ricochet, which is relative order flow. And this all-important FT reset, this is our major support and resistance. This one here prints the number of minutes that a line was last touched. So the idea is that the more time passed, the stronger the line, really. So it just hasn't been tested for a while. And this is kind of our breaks. All these things, see increasing momentum, more orders, more volume. You might think, well, orders are going to price is going to keep going in that direction. But this FT reset support resistance kind of says, hey, it's a very good chance based on our years of trading us that price is going to hit these lines and turn around, provided everything else lines up as well. So you could do a whole webinar on that, as I mentioned on Thursday too. I mean, really, it probably should try to do that. It's a good one. And Flash and McDiver, divergence, we have done webinars on, and we can send those to you if you're interested. Just send us email. Those, timing-wise, divergence usually prints, so, after the PBAs and the speed ticks and obos and so on, it prints at the open of this bar, the second bar here, and that's where we would get in. And I'll show you, let's see, I probably should go over that video just to give you an idea of the timing when we get in. But that's a very powerful combination, speed tick and that flash or McDiver. Now, we also have a super divergence indicator that combines an additional 5 oscillators. So we'll look at that a little bit today too. It's a relatively new indicator, so we're watching it and developing trades based on that as well. But so far in the room, we're sticking with RSI and MACD divergence. So out of all these different turning points that we have here on this chart, these two here are the ones that would be sanctioned intentional trader trades. We filtered it out. Just go for the sure thing. We don't need to go for every blip and blop. And that's basically how we get there. Well, you guys know what divergence is. That's sorry, a little out of order. Basically, when price and an oscillator agree here, both rising, then we don't have divergence. When you have price, here's going up, certain look back period, RSI or whatever we're looking at, whatever oscillator is going down, then we have divergence. So the idea is that momentum, this change in momentum tends to lead price. So that's why we have the timing that we have as far as the divergence printing on the bar and so on. So it's a very powerful indicator, and regardless of your style of trading, it's definitely a must in your arsenal. So just to quickly summarize, so we've got our flow-based indicators that are pointing to exhaustion, speed tick, PBA, that's volume flow, ricochet, relative order flow, and then the threshold-based indicators, overbought, oversold, divergence, velocity, and then our ever important support and resistance. So that's just in a nutshell. And then we've carved out just a certain handful of setups at this point with the indicators. So we have rules that we qualify each setup with. And with the speed tick, we need to see a speed tick, strong line of support and resistance with that number at the end, the number of minutes, overbought, oversold, or divergence is required. And the divergence would print on this bar. We begin in at the open of this bar. FT reset, yeah, I mean, we recommend new users go with a high number, but with experience, you can kind of drop the number too, lower it a bit. And then Rico dot, that's when you have a PBA, our volume spread analysis, and our ricochet, relative order flow, printing on that same first bar. Obos is required. Again, we enter at the open of this bar, pretty close to the open. Want to make sure we're not trading back into support resistance. Want to make sure we have strong momentum, strong march up to the line, because that indicates greater chance of exhaustion. And then the speed, max speed flash. We have a speed tick here and divergence on this next bar. Hop on in. And this is the one setup where we can trade off of minor support and resistance as well. Speed tick. You want the open of this bar, this entry bar, to be somewhere close to the close of the previous bar. You don't want it to be way up here, because then a lot of the moves happen. So that's the kind of thing, we filter as humans. We kind of filter out further. And then obos is required. So just these are just actual chart examples. Speed tick, enter at this bar, Rico dot, jump on in at the open there. Speed flash, this one's off of major resistance. Got your medium blue speed tick and flash, and I'll explain the 60 in a bit. That is our new divergence indicator. And here we are with minor support resistance. So that was a quick whirlwind tour of a lot of things. And if there's any questions at this point, let me know. Maybe while we're thinking of questions, I'll bring up a quick video. Let's see. Okay. Sorry, I had it, but accidentally closed it down. So let's see. Okay, just to give you an idea of how these indicators print in real time and how we would enter. So here's you got your speed tick approaching a nice strong line. And let's see. Okay, so at the open of this next bar is when we'd enter. So boom. So we already have the information. Everything's printing in real time, not repainting, no guesswork. And we'd enter at this bar. Yeah. Should have used QuickTime. Then I could advance a little bit easier. Let's go. Okay, so that's one. I'll just show you one more. I see some people typing, so let's see. All right. Okay, so now we're on minor support, which for us is the low high of the day, just a standard intratrader indicator. Okay, so we've got our speed tick, overbought, oversold. These two are not required, but extra confirmation. So boom, at the open of that bar, flash is already printed. This divergence is printed, and we're in already. Okay. All right, so that just gives you an idea of how we do this. Let's see. Okay. So on to Bloodhound. Let's see. Bloodhound Raven, Bunthound templates can be purchased. Let's see. Already have Bloodhound Raven. You need our indicators in order to use our templates. You'll know with Bloodhound templates. If the indicator is not present on your system, you get a lot of ugly errors. So you do need our indicators. Now I do want to show you this other video. It's a great Bloodhound side-by-side kind of thing. I don't want you guys to get distracted by it, but I don't want to forget it either. So I'm going to go ahead. I'll drop it in, and you can click on the link, but don't get too distracted by it. So basically, it's you see how we've cleaned up a lot of our own setups, even though our setups are clear and easy to read. And for those of us who've been doing it for a while, it's like we can do it in our sleep. You know, it's not difficult. But for new people, they might think, well, it's a lot of indicators. I just like to paint a nice Bloodhound stripe. And so you can do that. Let's see. let me bring up when I opened my charts this morning, the whole workspace, all the charts were missing from the workspace, everything, so I had to recreate things really quickly. But this stripe right here is generated from Bloodhound. And so that just pinpoints, like right here, let's see, that looks to be a speed flash kind of setup. So it's marking that. And we've done, let's see, just to kind of give you guys a tour. Yeah, all of the Bloodhound templates are just a place to put all of our indicator settings and how they interact with other indicators and so on. So you kind of need to have that. So each of these solver nodes refers to an indicator. Here we have FT reset. We have flash. We have all kinds of stuff going on there. So, okay, I hope you can see that a little bit better. Right, and for our rules, like I said, the FT reset, that support resistance it's really at the foundation of it. So a lot of this models that, to start with. We normally, in the trade room, we pass, for example, when the bar opens on a line of support and resistance. So we've got that covered in here, and we do that on all three. See, this one here is a speed flash setup and all of the information that's required to generate that signal. This one's a speed tick, and then we have the Rico dot. And for the speed flash or speed MAC, instead of major support resistance, we can also trade off of minor, that high-low of the day. So we've got that covered in there. And we want to make sure we're moving away from a line and a certain distance to that line. We don't want to be too far out. So that is FT reset bounce for the major, and then open to current high of day for minor. And then let's see, FT clearance. We also want to make sure we're not trading into any support and resistance, major support resistance. Yes, Bernard. Yeah, we'll send you a recording after the event. So that is another one, and that is required for all three of these setups. So that is kind of a bit complicated as far as having everything on the template. So let's look at, let's see. Let's look at a speed flash. Let me bring that up. Aha. Okay, here it is. Okay, so just looking at one of those setups, so speed flash, speed MAC, and just kind of break it down a little bit. So let's see here. What this information does, for example, if you just want to see, like, well, okay, where's all the McDivers? Just quickly point them out. Okay, so there. And, it's just, you can build off of one indicator, start putting in more criteria and so on. Make sure. Speed tick 111. So I set that displacement to 0 because we're actually going to be entering on the bar where it appears. I don't know how it switched back over, but that's where, you know, we're looking to enter. Just boom, boom, boom. And then speed ticks, that we need to fire. We're looking 1 bar back. We need our information to be on that entry bar though. So we project it the information from 1 bar back onto the current bar. Open to current high of the day, major support resistance, don't want to trade into support resistance. And that's really it. You know, it's a lot that went into developing these solvers, so it took a while. And Zach and Daniel, everybody did the, you know, went through these things. Finally got IT system up there, up and going. Let's see. Okay, medium blue. All right, so that's a start. And what I wanted to kind of look at today, we talked a little bit on Thursday about how just quick ways to manipulate some of these things. You know, if flash is a bar later, how's that going to look? Or if the speed tick and flash are on the same bar. These are questions that come up in the room all the time. So with Bloodhound, you can easily go ahead and you know, test that out. Get a visual representation, then run it through replay, start to trade it, get an idea how it behaves. So let's see. Make sure I have the right one. All right. But today, I mean, that's all fine and good, but today we're just gonna get a little bit naughty, break all our rules, and just look at some of these other indicators. We have somebody in the trade room who does a lot of so-called naked speed flash, speed max, and he's looking at oops, let me put this on the chart. It wasn't part of the original template that I had to quickly throw together. He looks at volume up and down. Let's see. In conjunction with our indicators. So let's see. Okay, that's better. So, and he has rules that are built around that too. You know, he doesn't just jump in as soon as he sees a green bar or a red bar. He's kind of, he watches it for a few seconds and looks at the fluctuations, and if it kind of quiets down, then he'll take a trade. That's a little hard to do with Bloodhound, but at least you can kind of get an idea of incorporating something like that with our templates. So that's, we're going to look at that, and then we're also going to look at these other divergences that we have from the Super D. So for example, Super D right here, it's printing this 1D. It's a little hard to see, but there's in the kind of near this, the end of this date time, you see a UO for the ultimate oscillator pop up. So that's what that corresponds to. And then in replay or with live data, you'll also get the information over here on the sidebar as to which oscillators are coming in for the super divergence. Here we have a 4D ROC, rate of change, stochastics, MO, and the UO here. So I set it up just really quickly so that if any of these are active, any of these 7, yep, then we'll get a signal. Now, in reality, of course, you want to test this and see which combinations work best together. Instead of or, you can and certain ones together, logical and, so that you are required to have certain combinations print. But just for a quick and dirty setup, We have all of these going. And then we have our speed tick, threshold 1 and 2. Both I have just optional. I haven't hooked it up. And I've taken away the mention for the so-called naked speed divergence setups. We don't, well, you know, if you want to train them. They're called naked because we don't have any support and resistance, either minor or major, behind us. So that's just as a start. You can start there, and if you find you're getting a lot of junk in the trunk, then you can bring in support and resistance as necessary. Just kind of build the setups up. But people are always curious about how those go, so I just want to talk about them a little bit. Then for our up and down indicator, what I've done here is basically, let's see, it starts out with just isolating, you know, wherever you have a up, and so since it's bar close equal to false, as soon as that comes in, as soon as the main bar comes in and this thing starts forming, if it's an up bar, you know, you're going to get a green signal, and down bar, you're going to get a red. And now, one of the things is you'll notice this is a threshold indicator. So with threshold indicators, you may have to adjust it during the trading session. In the morning, might be quiet, and then, you know, just, well, pre-New York open, it's going to be quiet, and then things will speed up, and then in the afternoon might get quiet again. So that's a kind of one of the dilemmas working with a threshold-based indicator, is you may have to adjust it. I went in and I just said, hey, for now, you know, anything over 1700 for that indicator, let's print. You probably would need something higher than that. But that's just good information to have. And then you might also want to look to see behavior of a previous bar. So if you have a large down bar on the speed tick bar, and then things start printing green, you know, that might be something you want to also take into account. So I just put that in as well. Let's see. Basically, at this point, it's just saying, hey, you know, we're going to isolate, a down bar. We're going to call it, but we're going to make it eligible to be an up bar. So that's, you know, and then bring in the threshold, and then you can kind of key in on the larger ones there. Let's see. So that's just a way to help you kind of filter out, if you're going to do naked trades, ignore support and resistance. You want something else in there to help you filter. And right now we're just looking at volume up, down. And there's a lot of different things you can use. So that one didn't go so well. But a lot of these you can do, you can even set up for just, you know, instead of 5 ticks, maybe, you know, they're just quick little 3-tick winners or something like that. So you have to then work on that trade management and see what your optimal targets and stops are for something like this. But, you know, a lot of little quickies. So in this case, let's see, we got 5 different divergences printing. ROC, stochastic, CCI, which is quite good, even on its own. MO and the UO. CCI and UO. And, you know, some people want to know about big blues and how those behave. So if you really just want to break all the rules, get naughty, this is the place to do it. You know, it's not in the trade room when you're with real money. It's after hours if you want to test certain things out. So here we have threshold, third level speed ticks, bring those in, see what happens. You may have to adjust other parameters in there. But you guys kind of get the idea. So that's up to you, and you have the full control to do that. Other things that I just threw in here so that if anyone wants a template, they're there. Velocity, we can bring in velocity to filter, mo meter, EMA slope, that's just something, it's an old holdover. It's a good way to kind of get an idea. It's sort of redundant because if you've got all these indicators printing, momentum is increasing. So you don't really need the slope of an EMA, and that EMA is lagging anyway. But it's something that can, if you want to look back a few bars and see that your EMA's slope is changing, then you can do that. Something like bar length for previous, if you want to look back and see, make sure the previous bar is sufficiently, has a spread, because with our volume spread analysis, we're looking at that price spread, the close of a bar, and volume and so on within the bar. And we might want to require a certain kind of spread. This is a built-in Bloodhound solver, and it takes into account the wick length too. So it's the whole spread. If you just want like the candle body spread, then you could use something like a comparison solver. So right here I have set so that you need at least an 8-tick candle body on this speed tick bar. Whoops. Yeah. So it's looking back one and sizing up the bar. Yep. So those are just some options, just things to think about. So that is, some of what you can do pretty quickly in Bloodhound. And I think from there, does anybody have any questions so far? Okay. Let's see, we could do a quick demo of Raven. That's the strategy component that comes with Bloodhound. Bloodhound itself is just an indicator. To apply it to the chart, you just go to your indicator list. And there it is. Bring it in, put in your templates and so on. Okay. Well, let's see. Let me connect to replay. And let's see, we're going to go to 15. Yeah, a couple, let's see, 11. I'm just going to stick with this template, just so you can see how Raven, the strategy, would just, trigger a trade if you wanted to do that. And we recommend, if you're new to our system, definitely get familiar with our setups and trade them manually. So that way you really get a lot more out of something like Bloodhound. Aha, it's a little slow. I should close down some other charts here. One second. Okay, close down one more. Okay. All right, so now that we're connected to some kind of feed, in this case replay, we can bring up Raven strategy. Bring in our Bloodhound template. Oh, okay. And then you can just kind of, this is kind of really basic. So we just put a let's put a 5-tick, 7-tick stop, calculate on bar close false, enable, and I think that's it. And 1 second while it's loading. I may have, let's see, how many days am I loading? I may be loading too many days. Sorry about that. Just kind of had to throw these charts together really quickly. Okay. Okay, enable it. Whoops, well, that was fast. Okay, so that, let's see, number of divergences. Just gonna speed it ahead. Okay, it's up a couple. This one I actually wasn't expecting, so hopefully it'll work out. Oh, order filled. Okay. So that's a 5-tick. CL is $10 per tick. And let's see, I think we have one more coming up. But you notice that as soon as we get to the open of that bar, that next bar, current bar, that's when we get in. A couple more minutes. Let's see. I think it's this one. Order filled. Okay, so it's in. Yeah, that was a little fast, but right. You hope maybe you heard the order filled. It's right at the open of that bar. In this case, we're taking a UO oscillator signal, ultimate oscillator.
Order filled.
Okay, so it's just that exciting, you know? Not very. And that's an overview of how it goes. So there's a lot of possibilities there. If anyone has any questions, let me know. All right. I think this is the quietest group we've ever had. Are you guys there? You rode a blazing sun. All right. Okay, well, we do have a special running, help get you started. And basically all these indicators that we cover today, everything that we use in the trade room, that is the speed tick, overbought, oversold, flash, pullback alert, and super divergence, and all the rest, all good stuff. We can do that in combination with Bloodhound lifetime license, which includes Raven. They've recently had a little bit of a price increase with Bloodhound, but it was really long overdue. They retailed it on the site for $7.95, but we'll give you a break on that. It's an excellent piece of software. And a lifetime license or access to our Bloodhound templates. So we have a little mini library going there. There's a lot that I didn't show you today, but all kinds of different things in there. And of course, when you get them, when you get your Bloodhound templates, make backups so that you keep them nice and fresh. Of course, you can always download them again, but just good to make backups and then just start playing. Go through all the solvers, make sure, understand them, look at them one at a time, hook them up, see what they do, play with the settings of them. And then we also have, for this special, we're going to have a month of VIP so that you have access to the Fast Forward program, AHA sessions, and so on. And with the Fast Forward program, you'll be able to go in there, develop your practice routine, master our setups in just as quick a time as we can make it, you know. I mean, it takes, the more work you put into it, the faster it goes, shorter the learning curve. And then 1 month, actually on the special site, I have 2 months for the first 5. We've got a couple left for the trade room. And if you're really interested and you ask me about it, I might even give you an extra month of VIP. It depends. So for all of this, now sold separately, it's $48.45. So we're just going to combine everything, give you a bulk discount of $28.70. And Connor dropped in the link there. So go take a look at the special page if you have any questions about it. Make sure it's clear. Let's see. Whoops. So at the top, basically, you've got your pullback alert, or excuse me, pullback bundle of indicators, and you can click on each one to remind yourself, you know, what they do and so on. And then we bring in our templates, Bloodhound, and other goodies. If you already own Bloodhound, then you can just click on pullback bundle plus templates down here, and we'll take that into account. Otherwise, for all of it, you just go ahead and click on the first one. All right. Well, that's about it for me, unless there's any questions. Now's the time. I see some emails coming in. That's good. I know that's a lot of information, so it's we will send out the recording, and also maybe along with Thursdays as well, and so that way you see it again. Any questions about individual indicators or setups or anything? We want to make sure you're clear on it. That's it. This is a new computer. I have to look. Let's see. Forget right off the bat. But I mean, you want to join the modern times. I mean, what if you're using an old computer? It's nothing, amazing though. Let me see. Control panel, security, system. Okay, this is what I've got. 3.4 gigahertz. No, 16 gigabytes of RAM. That's fine. I can always add more later, but generally the more power you can get, the more RAM and so on, the better. And currently Bloodhound is just available for NT7, but I know they're working around the clock to get it out for NT8, so stay tuned for that. Okay. I think that's it. I gave you guys the link for the Bloodhound side by side. I'll drop that in again so that in your own time you can take a look at that. It's a nice video. And that was just a random day. It was all taken over the course of a few hours, couple hours during our trade session. All right. Well, I think if there's any other questions, we'll call it a day. Get out and enjoy the beautiful weekend. Hopefully it's nice where you are. All right. Okay, we'll see you all later. Let me know if you have any questions. Just mail them in. Thanks, everyone. Have a great 4th. Thanks, I will. Can't wait to get out there. Okay, see you later. Bye-bye.